228 times a day. Not because you're weak, not because you lack discipline, but because an entire multi-billion-dollar industry has engineered your brain to do exactly that. Each time, you stay for about 10 seconds. 10 seconds. That's not casual use. That's fragmentation. That's your focus being sliced into pieces so small you barely notice it disappearing. And if you feel like your attention span is cooked, like you can't read the way you used to, think the way you used to, sit still the way you used to, you're not imagining. Something has changed, but not in the way people think. You've probably heard the goldfish stat. Humans now have an 8-second attention span, less than a goldfish. It's catchy. It's humiliating. It's everywhere. And it's not real. That number came from a Microsoft report in 2015. And when researchers tried to trace the source, it led to nothing. No scientific study measuring goldfish attention. No underwater lab with tiny aquatic TED Talks. Just a statistic that felt true enough to spread. But here's the twist. The myth was fake. The problem is not. In 2000, the average person stayed focused on one screen for about 2.5 minutes before switching. By 2012, that dropped to 75 seconds. Today, around 47 seconds. Less than a minute before your brain reaches for something else. And on mobile, it's worse. 228 pickups a day. Average session, 10 seconds. That's not a shorter attention span. That's hyper-fragmentation. It's not that you can't focus. It's that your focus is constantly being interrupted, redirected, monetized. Nearly half of adults in the US, the UK, and Canada report that their ability to concentrate feels worse than it did a decade ago. Almost half say deep thinking has become rare in their daily lives. And that's not nostalgia. That's measurable behavior change. Here's what should concern you. Your brain is plastic. It rewires itself based on how you use it. Neuroplasticity is powerful, but it's neutral. It doesn't care whether you're training for deep work or endless scrolling. It adapts to whatever you repeat. Researchers have started using a term popcorn brain. Constant stimulation, always popping, always scanning, always waiting for the next hit. When you task switch repeatedly, your brain doesn't get sharper. It enters a state of chronic overactivation. It burns more energy, it produces less meaningful output. You feel busy, you feel wired, but you're not actually focused. And for younger generations who grew up with smartphones as default reality, sustained attention during long tasks has measurably declined. Not because they're less capable, because their brains developed in an environment of constant interruption. Now here's the part most people avoid saying out loud. This didn't happen by accident. Your attention is a commodity. Social media companies, news platforms, streaming services, they don't sell subscriptions. They sell you. Specifically, they sell your time and your attention to advertisers. The longer you stay, the more revenue they generate. So they hire behavioral scientists. They test colors, sounds, scroll mechanics. They implement infinite scroll so there's no stopping cue. They use variable reward schedules, the same psychological mechanism behind slot machines. Sometimes the feed rewards you with something amazing. Sometimes it's garbage. That unpredictability is the hook. Dopamine isn't about pleasure. It's about anticipation. It's about seeking. Your brain releases dopamine when you might find something good, not when you've already found it. So you're not addicted to the content. You're addicted to the possibility of better content. The maybe, the next swipe, the next notification, the next hit. And here's the brutal irony. The people who design these systems often limit their own children's exposure to them. This isn't about blaming technology. Technology is neutral. Business models are not. When engagement equals revenue, interruption becomes strategy. Notifications aren't conveniences. They're interruptions as a service. So when you say, I just need more willpower, understand what you're up against. The average person makes around 35,000 decisions a day. Every time you resist checking your phone, you're spending cognitive energy. Willpower isn't infinite. It's a finite resource that depletes. If you're defending against 200 plus digital temptations daily, you will eventually lose. Not because you're flawed, because you're human. Studies show nearly half of people actively trying to reduce phone use still fail to stop compulsive checking. That's not laziness, that's environment overpowering intention. But here's the part that should give you hope. The same neuroplasticity that wired your brain for distraction can rewire it back for depth. Attention isn't fixed, it's trainable. And the solutions aren't extreme, they're strategic. Start with this: notifications. Go into your settings and ask one ruthless question for every app. Does this need to interrupt me in real time? Not is it sometimes useful, not could it be important. Does it deserve immediate access to my brain? For most apps, the answer is no. News can wait, social media can wait, email absolutely can wait. Calls from family, calendar reminders for critical events, fine. Everything else is noise masquerading as urgency. Research shows that simply putting your phone on silent improves attention metrics by about 20%. 20% from one setting change. Next, increase friction. If your phone is within arm's reach, you'll check it. If it's in another room, you probably won't. That tiny barrier breaks automatic behavior. Log out of distracting sites. Use blockers that require effort to disable. Work in full screen mode with one task visible, not 10 tabs half open, each whispering for your attention. Focus isn't about heroically resisting temptation. It's about designing your environment so temptation loses power. Then there's something called body double. Work near someone else who's also focused. It could be a coworker, a study partner, even a silent virtual session online. Humans are social creatures. Focus is contagious. When you're around others concentrating, your brain mirrors that behavior. It's not about pressure, it's about shared intent. And when you structure your work, align it with biology. Your brain operates in roughly 90-minute ultradian cycles, periods of high alertness followed by a natural dip. Work deeply for 90 minutes, then take a real break, not a scroll break, not switching apps, a walk, stretching, silence. After 3 or 4 cycles, your cognitive capacity is tapped. Pushing beyond that isn't productivity, it's diminishing returns. But there's one habit that might matter more than all the others combined: the first hour of your day. If you wake up and immediately check your phone, you enter reactive mode. You let other people's priorities define your attention before you've defined it yourself. Even delaying that first scroll by 30 minutes measurably improves focus throughout the day. Protect that window. Sit with your coffee. Move your body. Plan your day. Think your own thoughts before consuming someone else's. Because this is bigger than productivity. The real question isn't how do I focus more? It's what am I saving my attention for? Attention is your most limited resource. Time passes either way, but attention determines how you experience that time. 2 hours fully present feels radically different from 2 hours half scrolling, half listening, half living. If you don't decide what deserves your attention, someone else will, and they already have a strategy. This isn't about becoming a productivity machine. It's about reclaiming your ability to read a book without drifting, to sit through a conversation without your mind reaching for your pocket, to think a thought all the way to its end. You made it through this entire video. In a world designed to fracture your focus, that matters. That means your attention isn't cooked. It's just been conditioned. So here's your move. Not a complete life overhaul. One change. Audit your notifications tonight. Put your phone in another room during your next work session. Try one 90-minute deep work block this week. Just one. Because the moment you intentionally direct your attention, you prove something powerful. You are not the product. You are the owner of your focus. If this hit home, don't just scroll away. Share your experience in the comments. What's been stealing your attention lately? What are you trying to win it back for? And if you want more deep dive like this, serious, research-backed conversations about the forces shaping your money, your mind, and your future, subscribe and stay with us.